Hey, welcome to Daily Bravo Drama. In this deep dive, we will be talking about, well, some really crazy stuff like Dorit and PK's shocking foreclosure details and massive debts. Plus, we'll cover Scheana spilling the tea on Jax's publicist Lori hiding abuse videos and Shannon Beador's $300,000 beef with Heather McDonald. We're also getting into Rula's wild contract demands to ban her husband's mistress from filming, Galena calling her ex's new girl mashed potato, Ariana Bierman's latest split, Gina's strict prenup, and Amanda Kloots finding love after loss. We'll cover everything coming up in this audio.
Wow, that is a lot to get through.
Hey, this is Delilah.
Hey, this is Fahui.
Welcome to Reality TV Audio Podcast, where we break down the latest in reality TV every day.
Yeah, and today's deep dive into our sources is it's entirely focused on the messy intersection of money, betrayal, and like the extreme lengths people will go to in order to control the narrative when the cameras are rolling.
Okay, let's unpack this because we have to start with the most viral, absolute dumpster fire of a situation first. I am talking about Dorit and PK Kemsley from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh yeah, the legal filings.
Right. So attorney Ronald Richards, who, practically moonlights as a Bravo legal historian at this point, just dropped the most shocking foreclosure details on Instagram. And honestly, reading the numbers in these legal filings left my jaw on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers here move way past typical reality TV financial drama into like severe systemic crisis territory. We are looking at a current home sale date listed as August 4th, 2026.
Wow, that is coming up fast.
It is. And the combined mortgage payment on this property is $40,000 a month. Plus, PK allegedly owes his attorney $351,000.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious. And just to reinstate the loan, not pay it off, but just to get back in the lender's good graces, the first lender is demanding $514,000.
Wait, hold on. I need to stop you there to make sure we have this straight. Reinstating the loan just means catching up on missed payments and late fees, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
So they are over $500,000 behind just on the monthly payments.
That is correct. It is a staggering amount of delinquency, honestly. But what is truly fascinating here are the mechanics of how this unraveled behind the scenes.
Oh, you mean the stuff with their friend?
Yeah, specifically regarding Anthony Antonia. According to his declaration, Anthony loaned PK $100,000, specifically to help cure these delinquencies.
That's a huge favor.
Right, but he didn't just hand over a check blindly on a handshake. He loaned that money based on an explicit legal promise.
Which was what?
That Dorit would sign a stipulation agreeing to pay him back directly from the eventual proceeds of the house sale.
Which is completely reasonable. I mean, if you are loaning six figures to a friend who is actively defaulting on a massive mansion, you want your name on paper. You have to get paid before the remaining cash disappears.
Precisely. A stipulation like that essentially secures your place in line when the funds are dispersed. But once the funds were released and Anthony's money was used, Dorit flat out reneged.
She just refused.
Completely refused to sign the stipulation. Furthermore, she formally objected to PK being reimbursed for the $300,000 he had already paid to the lender.
Wait, why does that matter?
Because that $300,000 actually included Anthony's borrowed money. It is a massive breach of trust, essentially trapping their friend's money in this foreclosure nightmare.
It's beyond a breach of trust, honestly. It feels intentionally deceptive, and here is where it gets really hard to watch for you as a viewer.
The spending.
Yes. While this massive default is happening, Ronald Richards pointed out that Dorit spent $909,000 on her wardrobe between June and February of 2026.
That is almost $1 million on clothes.
Exactly. And she was just seen partying in France. It's literally like buying luxury life jackets while you actively drill holes in your own sinking ship.
That is the perfect analogy. I love that. And from a legal and strategic standpoint, the advice they seem to be ignoring is deeply troubling. For context, the entity that holds the house is currently suspended by the Franchise Tax Board.
Wait, pause for a second. Suspended by the Franchise Tax Board, what does that actually mean in plain English for them?
Well, in California, if your business entity fails to pay its state taxes or file the proper returns, the Franchise Tax Board can suspend its corporate powers.
So they can't do anything?
Basically. That means the entity cannot legally sell property, transfer assets, or even defend itself in court until those taxes are paid and the suspension is lifted.
Oh my gosh. So not only are they facing foreclosure, but the very entity that owns the house is legally paralyzed.
Exactly. The logical advice here is to downsize, liquidate, and restructure. But the refusal to adjust their spending habits is forcing this into a highly public, catastrophic default.
It's messy, it's public, and it just shows the terrifying cost of trying to maintain an illusion. But speaking of protecting an image at a massive cost, let's look at how this plays out in the PR world.
Ah, the drama on the Valley.
Yes. Over on the Valley, Scheana Shay just dropped a bombshell on her podcast regarding Jax Taylor, Brittany Cartwright, and Brittany's former publicist of a decade, Lori Krebs.
This situation really pulls back the curtain on how narratives are controlled. Like, Lori and Jax are now publicly dating, which is obviously a major plot twist.
Right. Totally weird.
But what Scheana hinted at is far more insidious regarding how the public relations machine was operating behind the scenes.
Exactly. Scheana heavily implied that Lori actively discouraged Brittany from releasing actual videos of Jax's alleged abuse.
Which is horrifying.
It is. We are talking about a specific, terrifying incident where Jax allegedly caused physical injury to Brittany by flipping a table after he caught her sending a sexy video to Julian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Scheana's basically saying Lori used her position to suppress the truth and protect Jax's image entirely at the expense of her other client, Brittany.
If we look at the mechanics of crisis PR, a publicist's fiduciary duty is to protect their client's best interests.
Right.
When you share a publicist with your spouse, and that publicist becomes romantically involved with him, you lose your advocate entirely.
Yeah, Brittany is now realizing that for years, Lori was allegedly ignoring bad press about her and quietly minimizing Brittany's struggles to elevate Jax.
Exactly. When your crisis manager is the one managing the crisis against you to protect her romantic interest, you are entirely stripped of your voice.
See, my theory on this is that in the reality TV ecosystem, casts sharing publicists is always a ticking time bomb. They all use, like, the same 2 or 3 agencies.
That really...
It creates a massive conflict of interest because the publicist will always protect the highest earner or the loudest personality. You pay someone to protect you, and they end up feeding you to the wolves just to keep their other client happy.
It's a really toxic dynamic.
It is. And by the way, Scheana didn't just stop there. She also used her podcast to clear her own name regarding the Lacey Nicole drama.
Right, the conflict they talked about at the Valley reunion.
Exactly. Janet Taperna had claimed that Scheana was the one digging up dirt on Jesse Lowley's 35-year-old girlfriend, Lacey.
Did she deny it?
Oh, she explicitly denied it on the podcast, saying, "No, Janet, I was not the one looking up Lacey. That was you."
Wow.
It is just a web of finger-pointing right now. These casts weaponize information off-camera just as much as on-camera.
It definitely highlights how off-camera platforms, like podcasts, have become the actual battleground for these reality stars.
Yeah.
The show is just the preamble, you know? The real warfare happens on the microphones.
Absolutely. And before we get into the real-world financial consequences of that exact kind of podcast warfare, a huge shout-out to our listener, The Learner, who always leaves the most incredibly detailed theories in the comments. This next breakdown is for you.
Yes, shout out to The Learner.
Because Shannon Beador's $300,000 loss proves that in reality TV, your biggest liability isn't your behavior, it's your proximity to other people's drama.
We are looking at Shannon Beador and Heather McDonald. This is a fascinating case study in how reality TV grudges have very expensive, tangible consequences.
So Heather McDonald recently posted a video on her Instagram mocking Shannon's frequent trips and falls on The Real Housewives of Orange County.
She essentially accused Shannon of acting clumsy just to secure storyline and get camera time. Right.
Yes. And Shannon clapped back immediately, calling Heather obsessed, confirming she blocked her, and defending herself by saying she really just falls down a lot.
But to understand why Shannon is so deeply bothered by this, you really have to look at the historical context. This isn't just about a mocking Instagram reel.
No, it goes way deeper.
Years ago, Shannon Beador and Tamra Judge were sued for defamation by Jim Bellino, the ex-husband of their castmate, Alexis Bellino.
Right, I remember that.
And where did the allegedly defamatory comments take place? They happened while Shannon was a guest on Heather McDonald's Juicy Scoop podcast.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting for you if you're following the money. Shannon actually won her part of the lawsuit.
Yeah, the court found she didn't say anything defamatory.
But winning in court does not mean winning in life. Shannon still lost $300,000 in attorney fees just to defend herself.
Exactly. This lawsuit was handled under anti-SLAPP laws in California.
Wait, pause. Anti-SLAPP. I know that's meant to protect free speech and stop frivolous lawsuits. But if Shannon won under a law designed to protect her, how on earth is she still on the hook for $300,000 in fees? Like, how does that math work?
Yeah, that is the cruel reality of the legal system.
Yeah.
Anti-SLAPP stands for Strategic Lawsuits Against Public Participation.
Okay.
It allows a judge to dismiss a case early if it's clear the lawsuit is just trying to intimidate someone for exercising free speech.
Which sounds good in theory.
It does, however. Getting a case dismissed still requires hiring high-powered attorneys to file those motions, conduct discovery, and argue in court.
Ah, I see.
Even though the law allows you to ask the court to force the plaintiff to pay your legal fees, judges rarely award the full amount you actually spent.
That is wild.
So Shannon was left holding the bag for a substantial sum of money simply because she sat in front of Heather's microphone and bantered.
And Shannon's major grievance is that while she was bleeding cash to fight this lawsuit, Heather offered her zero empathy and took no responsibility for the platform she provided.
Which makes the recent events so ironic.
Totally. Shannon revealed she recently ran into Heather at a Jeff Lewis event. Shannon decided to take the high road, went up to her, and tried to say, like, let bygones be bygones. She even invited her to a barbecue.
A barbecue.
Yes. And how does Heather respond? By dropping a mocking video shortly after. If someone's podcast indirectly cost me $300,000, I don't think I'd be inviting them to a barbecue, let alone forgiving a mocking video.
Definitely not. It raises a vital point about self-preservation in this industry. Shannon learned the hard way how quickly assets can vanish when you aren't protecting your boundaries.
Yeah, she did.
Which transitions us perfectly to another Orange County star who is actively working to protect her financial future before disaster strikes.
Yes. Let's talk about Scheana Shay, who is standing completely firm on getting a prenup before she marries her fiancé, Travis Mullen.
And for her.
They got engaged on New Year's Eve 2025, and Scheana is making it very clear that the legal paperwork is happening before the wedding bells ring.
And her logic is incredibly sound when you look at the mechanics of California family law.
Right, because California is a community property state.
Exactly. That means, generally speaking, any assets acquired or wealth generated during the marriage is split 50-50 in a divorce, unless a prenuptial agreement states otherwise.
And Scheana emphasizes that a prenup is not about anticipating a divorce or a lack of trust. It is about smart, pragmatic financial planning.
Right, because their situation is complex. Both Scheana and Travis have 3 children from previous relationships.
That is a blended family of 6 kids.
Yeah, and they also have a real estate business together. If you don't have a prenup, a judge decides what happens to that business if things go south.
Exactly. It dictates how the business operates, how debts are handled, and most importantly, it ensures their respective children's inheritances are protected.
She noted she's in no rush to set a wedding date. She's focusing on scaling her business, and she actually plans to hyphenate her last name to honor both families.
It's a very grounded, offensive financial strategy, especially in a franchise where we just discussed a couple drowning in a $40,000 a month mortgage default.
It really is. Scheana is using a legal document to protect her money and her children. But if we look over at the East Coast, we see a reality star using a legal document for a very different reason.
Oh, to protect her pride. And this is the juiciest behind-the-scenes tea.
We have exclusive insider info on The Real Housewives of Rhode Island Season 2.
Spill it.
Rula Pontarelli has officially renegotiated her Bravo contract, and it included 6 specific bullet points entirely focused on one person.
Her husband, Brian's alleged mistress, Beth Walker. The specifics of these demands are wild.
Right.
According to the source, the contract legally dictates that Beth cannot film under any circumstances. Her name cannot be discussed on camera by anyone.
Yeah.
She cannot be brought on as a friend of the cast, and if she somehow shows up to a filming location, she will be escorted out by production security. Talk about dictating the narrative.
It is an unprecedented level of control for a cast member, really.
It is.
But to understand how Rila got this leverage, you have to look at the reality TV mechanics of what happened during Season 1 with the polo match.
Right, the infamous polo match.
During the day of that event, Brian was on camera doing everything he could to appease Rula so she wouldn't kick him out. But secretly, he allegedly had plans with Beth that very same day.
Ugh, so messy.
When the pressure of the affair got too high, Rula didn't just yell, she tried to quit the show entirely. She skipped the mandatory cast trip to the castle, citing health issues.
See, my theory on this is that Bravo didn't actually want to agree to this ban. I mean, a real-time affair is the holy grail of reality TV's storylines.
Oh, for sure.
But by skipping the cast trip, Rula essentially took the production schedule hostage. Is that how these mid-season renegotiations usually work?
Absolutely. When a central figure refuses to film during a climax event like a cast trip, production is left scrambling. Bravo practically begged her to stay because the show revolves around this drama.
So she had all the power.
By withholding her participation, she gained the ultimate leverage to implement those 6 bullet points. She legally erased the mistress from the show's universe.
It's incredible. But it is such a stark contrast to how Galina Saltkovska from the McBee dynasty is handling her own ex's affair.
Galina's situation is arguably even more complicated.
Yeah, because her ex, Stephen McBeenier, isn't just dealing with infidelity fallout. He is currently serving a 24-month sentence in federal prison.
Yes, for a crop insurance fraud scheme. For context, crop insurance fraud typically involves falsifying farming records.
Like claiming crops were destroyed by weather when they weren't.
Exactly, to receive massive payouts from government-backed insurance programs. So Galina is dealing with a partner who fundamentally compromised the integrity of their massive farming operation.
Right, and on top of the federal crimes, his affair was with Galina's former best friend, Masha Petrova.
That is just brutal.
And Galina's reaction is iconic. She refuses to even speak Masha's name on camera. A fan suggested a nickname, and now Galina strictly refers to her as mashed potato.
Mashed potato. That's hilarious. But what stands out to you about Galina's approach is her ability to compartmentalize.
Exactly. She has a strict business-first mindset. Despite the deep personal betrayal from her partner and her best friend, she is separating the emotional devastation from the operational reality of running these farms.
Totally.
She still emails Stephen in prison every single week to update him on the business. She said she wants to stay on the show because she loves what they are building, even though she completely understands why Christy might want to quit, given the recent events. Galina is acting like a true CEO.
She recognizes that walking away from the business and the platform only hurts her own financial future in the long run.
Right.
To save the physical assets of the farm, she has to set her pride aside and keep the lines of communication open, even with a man in federal prison who betrayed her.
Right.
It's a very pragmatic way of moving forward as a single woman in the public eye.
Which brings us to our final segment today, looking at 2 other very different ways of moving forward as a single woman.
Who are we looking at?
First, a quick update on Next Gen NYC. Ariana Bierman has confirmed she is officially single again.
Oh.
Her on and off 3-year relationship with Hudson McElroy has ended. But she seems to be in a really healthy place. She also addressed her on-screen clash with Riley Burruss, noting that Riley took full accountability for their drama.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, and Ariana actually begged her to return for season 2. It's genuinely refreshing to see women repairing their friendships on these shows instead of burning them down.
It is a welcome change of pace, for sure. If we shift the tone slightly, we see a much deeper perspective on moving forward from Amanda Klutz.
Oh, this one is so touching.
As many know, Amanda tragically lost her husband, the Broadway actor Nick Cordero, to COVID-19 in July 2020 after a brutal 95-day hospitalization.
It was so heartbreaking to watch her go through that in real time on social media.
It really was. Now, Emmett is launching a new podcast called Good Grief, focusing on navigating life after profound loss.
That's a great name for it.
And she shared a really beautiful sentiment recently, saying she knows Nick would want her to find love again. She's actively trying to navigate the complexities of dating while honoring her late husband's memory.
The specific analogy she used really stopped me in my tracks. She said that making room for new love in your heart is like having 5 children. You don't love them less when you have more. There's just more parts in your heart.
Right.
It's such a profound way to look at grief and healing. You don't replace the person you lost. Your heart just expands to hold both the grief and the new love simultaneously.
It's a powerful perspective on letting love back in without feeling guilty. And, as we wrap up this deep dive, examining all these different stories from the mechanics of foreclosures and prenups to petty podcast feuds and genuine grief, it brings up an important question about how you, as the audience, consume these lives.
Oh, definitely.
Consider how the court of public opinion punishes reality stars. When they attempt to hide their flaws or legally control the narrative, like Rula did, the audience calls them fake and aggressively digs for the truth.
Right. People want the dirt.
But when their real life actually crumbles, whether through a catastrophic mortgage default, a leaked crisis PR scandal, or a deeply painful betrayal, the audience often treats their actual trauma as just another storyline to be consumed, mocked, and memed.
Right.
Where's the line between your entertainment and their actual reality?
That is heavy, but it is absolutely true. These are real people behind the storylines.
They are.
But speaking of storylines you will not want to miss, you definitely want to tune in next time because a massive leak just dropped from the set of the new Below Deck season and a firing was caught entirely off camera. You won't want to miss it. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We appreciate you listening and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye, and thanks for listening.